Hello, good evening. Right, today we'll move on to the next part on trigonometry. Okay, now this part is related to graphs. So this part is known as, okay, you're supposed to sketch graphs of sine, cosine, and tangent. Okay, so based on these three functions given, any of these three functions, you're actually supposed to sketch a graph. All right, you are not required to use graph paper, just basic sketching will do. Okay, all right, so now basically before we actually start, you need to know first thing first, we need to know how the graph of the tree function looks like. Okay, so we've seen this previously. Okay, so the first one is the graph of sine, next is the graph of cosine. So what is important here, you must know what is the amplitude. Okay, you must know what is the x-intercepts. Okay, and then points of intersections. So this is your sine. This sine looks like this. This is your cosine graph. Okay. Both sine and cos has got an amplitude of 1. Okay. And last is the tangent. Okay. So the tangent graph looks something like this. We've seen this before. Okay. All right. So that's the basic knowledge that you need to know. Okay. The second thing that you need to know is this. Okay. Now, when you're given a function of this, okay, let's say y equals to a, then this is your trigonometric function, bx plus c. Example, one example is something like this. Y equals to 3 sine x plus 1. Okay, so what you need to know is the first one that you see, which is a here. A stands for the amplitude of the graph. Okay, B stands for cycle, and C tells you how much the graph actually shifted from the original position. Okay, so you need to know what is A, what is B, what is C. So now let's say you have an example like this. Y equals to 3 sine x plus 1. So what happens here now is this 3, this is your amplitude. Okay, this 3 is your amplitude. Okay, B is your cycle. Now B is the coefficient of x. So here x, the coefficient here is supposedly 1. Normally 1 we do not write. So this is your cycle, and this is how much your graph is actually going to be shifted from the original position. Okay, so now basically to draw a sine graph, you know how a sine graph looks like. We just looked at it just now. This is how it is. Okay, a sine curve starts from 0, intersection 180, and then it goes up to 360. Okay, so basic one will just look something like this. Okay, that is without this. It's just y equals to 3 sine x. Okay, so this is actually y equals to 3 sine x. All right, so this is without the shifted value. Okay, so meaning amplitude 3 here means this is 3 and this is negative 3. Okay, your points of intersection, this is something that you need to know. This is at 180 and this is at 360 degrees. Okay, so now let's say this graph plus 1 means it is shifted. The original graph is shifted by 1. Positive 1 means the graph actually moves up. Okay, 1 unit. So meaning this entire graph is going to be shifted up 1 unit. So that means 0 is shifted up to 1. 3 is shifted up to 1. So you will get 4. Negative 3 is shifted up 1. So it becomes negative 2. So now the graph will actually look something like this. Okay, let's say the entire thing just moves up. So it's going to become something like this. So basically, let's rejoin. Okay, so roughly that's how it looks like. Okay, so that means now from 0, it moves up to 1. 3 also moves up, so this becomes 4. Negative 3 moves up 1, so this is a negative 2. Okay, so now the amplitude, the values gets shifted up 1 unit. Okay, so that means now your intersections are no longer this. Okay, the intersections are here and here. Okay, so what you can actually do is to find your intercepts. Okay, this is your x-axis, so your intercept, okay, let's say you want to work it out. Y equals to 3 sine x plus 1. Okay, so at your x-axis, my y will become 0. Okay, meaning 3 sine x plus 1 is actually 0. So sine x equals to negative 1 over 3. Okay, so now we look for this value. So we know sine negative means it's actually in the third and the fourth quadrant. Okay, third and the fourth quadrant. So let's say I look for x first. So it's shift sine 1/3. You get about 19.47. Okay, and your negative means your graph is actually in the third and the fourth quadrant. Okay, so third quadrant means you're actually going to add with 180. So what you'll actually get is x can be 199.47. That's one angle. The other angle will be so if you minus off this, my answer just now was 1947. So it's 360 minus 1947. Okay, so we get about 340.53. Okay, so that means now my two intersections here and here will be, this one is 199.47 degrees, and this one here is actually 340.53 degrees. Okay, all right, so basically this is how we actually sketch a graph with three values obtained from the graph. Amplitude, this stands for your cycle, and this is actually the shifted. Okay, how many units your graph is actually shifted from the original value, original amplitude. All right, okay, thank you.